Mathematics 7 with Teacher Beverly. We are still on our Week 2, Module 2, and our discussion would be on Lesson 1. And this is now deepening on our understanding of the concept behind the union and intersection of sets. And of course, I'd like to remind you learners to please give time to answer for today's learning task, activity number 2 and 3. But before anything else, let's have these examples para mas masabta nato ang concept sa union and intersection of sets. Alright, so hello there learners. So today, we will now be going deeper to the concept of intersection and union of sets. So kung makarecall ta, kagahapon, we discussed on the union and intersection of two sets. So if we look on example number 1, makita nato no nga naatay tulo ka sets, and then combination na sa union og intersection ang atong kinahanglan nga isolve. Now pag inani gani ang problem nga ato ang ma-encounter, basically ang imong gabuhaton ani is you start from left going to the right. So but pasabot, unahon nato pagkuha ang union between set X and set Z. And ang result ana nga union may atong kuha ang intersection paingon kang set Y. But the very first thing that you really need to do is first list down the elements. So what I'm going to do here is isulat sa nako ang mga elements sa set. Step-by-step solution ang atong buhaton ani, no? So that the more organized ang atong pagtrabaho, mas dali nato masabtan ang ato ang answer, no? So the first thing I will do is i-list ang elements ni X. So I have here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And this is the union of set Z, which is 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, and 16. And then we have the intersection of set Y, and the elements of set Y are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So again, as what we have said, our first goal is to get first the union of these two sets. Kani say X union of Z, no? So here, I will focus myself here first. Now, I'll just focus here first. And so, kani nga portion here, I will just copy that on the second part of the solution. So, union, as what we have recalled, pagtapok lang sa mga elements, no? So, niya, kung naay nagdubli, you just write it once. So, in here, and take note, pag magsulat ka, not necessarily arrange. Pwede na siya, dili siya arrange, basta kay naalang tanan. So, I could write 2. And then, since duha ka 4, I just have to write it once. And then, there is already 6, 8, na ay 10, and na ay 12. And then, wala pa may nalista nga 1. So, isulat na ko si 1, nanay 4. So, dili na ako isulat si 4. Then, 7, naanay 10. So, okay na siya. And then, we have 13, and we have 16. So, this is now the result. This one is now the result of the union of set X and set Z. And then this portion, I'll just copy first. So this will now be the intersection of this set, which is 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So this time, we will now go to the intersection, no? Intersection. Now remember, intersection means the common elements, no? Listing down the common elements. So in here, you have to check unsa nga element ang naa sa ilahang duha. Okay? Now if you would check, si 3, wala din si 6. Okay. So, I will encircle para mailhan nako kinsay mga naay common. Okay, naatay common. How about 9? Wala, no? So si 12, okay, we have 12 also here. And we also have there. And then 15, okay. So that means we have two common elements. So mo ni siya dayon ang imuhang intersection. So basically, the intersection of this set and this set are these elements. So I will write here, this would be 6 and 12. So this will now be my final answer for this particular task. Okay? Now let's go to the second example. For the second example, as you will observe, there is a parenthesis, no? Now, if you can remember sa inyong mga elementary nga math, natin gitawag nga mga group operations, and these group operations, you have to answer them first. So, maura gihapon na danhi kung mag-solve ta og set. Since naka-parenthesis man na siya, but pa sa but, unahon nato ni siya pag-solve, ay din nato siya i-union kang Z. Take note of that because that's very important, learners. Kay kung dili nimo na siya i-follow nga rule, most likely lahi ang mugawas nga answer. Okay? So take note, our plan in solving this is solve this one first kay naka-parenthesis man, ay din nato siya kuhaan sa union of Z. But then, the same, you have to list first the elements. So what I'm going to do here is just substitute first the set with the elements. So set Y, we have here, the elements are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. And this is intersection with set X, which has elements of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And then I put a parenthesis here, and then union of set Z, and the elements of set Z are 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, and 16. Alright, so as what we have said, we will first go to this task, no? Getting the intersection, and that means we just have to copy this on the second part of the solution later. So let's now get the intersection. Let's check what are the common elements between these two sets. Okay? If we have 3, there is no 3 here. 6, okay. 6 is common, so I will encircle that. And then 9, no. 12, okay. Na ay 12, naapoy 12 danhi. And then 15, okay, wala. So that means the intersection of these two sets are the elements 6 and 12. So I will put here 6 and 12. Muna ni kibali ang result or answer ani nga portion here. And of course, I will copy this. And this is the union of this set. So 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, and 16. So in here, union is itipok lang. Again, you not necessarily to arrange this. So that means we have here, copy lang kadrit. So we have 6 and 12 automatic. And then of course 1. And then we have 4. We have 7. We have 10, 13, and 16. So this will now be our final answer for task number 2. So that's it on how to solve union and intersection of 2 or more sets. This time, I'd like to show to you the Venn diagram of these 3 sets because that's also a very important concept that we need to understand. So let's now proceed to our Venn diagram. Alright, so let's now proceed on using a Venn diagram to show the relationship of these 3 sets, set X, Y, and Z. Now, if you can remember, in a Venn diagram, we have a rectangle which actually represents our universal set. And so I will write here U because this is the universal set. So pag moingon tag universal set, kung atong madumduman, tanan set nga naa sa uban nga mga set. So kung makita ninyo, ang tulo ka circle, kay mo man ni sila ang mag-represent karon sa set X, Y, and Z, sulod siya sa rectangle simply because this shows that all of the elements of these 3 sets belongs to the universal set. Now, let's label these 3 circles with the appropriate representing set. So I can say that this is my set X, and this will be the one to represent my set Y, and this other circle will represent my set Z. Now, the first thing that you need to do, as what I have mentioned on my first example in the introduction of union and intersection of sets, the first thing that you really need to do first is to identify the intersections. Okay? And in here, ang pinakauna nga intersection nga atong unahon is kaning tunga. This intersection here represents the intersection of these three sets. Now, this part here is the intersection between X and Y. This portion here, or this region here, represents the intersection of set Y and set Z, and this region here represents the intersection of set X and set Z. And of course, these regions here, as you can see, okay, these regions are the regions where elements that exclusively sa ila ra gyud, wala nila gi-share sa ubang elements. So we will start from the most inner portion, this one here. So, i-check na to, unsa nga elements ang naa sa ilahang tulo nga common. Let's check. Now, can you see any common elements nga naa sa set X, Y, and Z? Correct. Walay common elements. So, that means kani nga portion diri is empty. Okay? This is an empty set. Okay, wala may common element nga makita nimo sa ilahang tulo. Now, let's go here. This portion here is the intersection of X and Y. So, let's look at X and Y. Naabay common si X o si Y? Kindly check. Correct. We have a common element of 6. Okay? We have a common element of 6. So, I will write it here. The common element of 6. And then, another common to them is si 12. So, I have here 12. And if you would check, only these two elements are common between these two sets. Now, let's proceed to this portion here, which is actually the intersection of set Z and set Y. So, tan-aw ta diri. Kinsa man nga element ang common sa ilaha? Alright, let's check. Okay, 3, no common. 6, no common. 9, no. 12, no. 15, no. So, sa may pasabot ani, null set ang intersection ni Z o ni Y or ni Y o Z. So, that means kani dire bakante. Okay? Now, let's now go to the intersection of set X and Z. So, tan-aw ta diri nga set, and then tan-awon pod nato diri. Now, let's check. Si 2 naa ba dito? Wala. 4? Okay, naa si 4. So, that means I will write it here. How about si 6? No 6 here. Si 8? Wala gyapon kang Z. How about 10? Yes, naay 10 diri. So, I will write 10. And then, how about 12? Okay, no 12. So, that means there are two elements nga nag-intersect ang set X and Z, and that is 4 and 10. Let's now complete the Venn diagram by listing down the elements that is not yet written for every set. Let's start with set X. Now, sa set X, nasulat na ang 4, nasulat na ang 10, and then nasulat na ang 12, o nasulat na ang 6. So, unsa naman lay wala nasulat? Si 2 og si 8. So, mo na imo ibutang ra diha. Si 2 og si 8. Sabot pasabot kani nga mga elements, wala ni siya sa uban nga mga set. Now, let's now go to set Y. Okay? So, for set Y, of course, dili ka mo ambak diri, no? Kaysa set naman ni nga Z. Sa set Y, ang imo ramang tan-awon danhi raman nga portion. Now, since bakante man ni diri ra ka magtan-aw. Okay? So, in here, sa set Y, ang nasulod is si 6 and si 12. Human na. That means, kanang mga walay check mo imong isulod. So, I have here 3, I have 9, and I have 15. Okay? Now, let's now go to set Z. And again, diri ra ka magtan-aw nga portion. And since bakante maning danhi, diri ra ka mag-consider sa imuhang mga unsay dapat dili na nimo ilista. So in here, since naa naman si 4 og si 10, I will check that. And that means I can only write 1, not 4. I can write 1 and then we have 7. Let's have 7 here. That's 7. And then we have 13 and 16. Alright, so this is now the Venn diagram of the 3 sets X, Y, and Z. So I hope this example will help you understand more on how to apply Venn diagram in showing the relationships of 2 or more sets. And so we're done with our learning session today, learners. And as always, please contact me sa unsa man nga mga assistance ang gikinahanglan sa mga contact details nga akong gipakita on screen. And sa kanunay, stay home, stay safe, God bless, and enjoy the rest of your day. Kita-kits ugma!